Okay. Okay. So okay, the so his progressive ascendant moves a long time. It moves from Gemini all the way to Pisces, Aries, so Cancer, and gets and moves Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, Taurus into Gemini. So he has a long, big change of his identity as it moves along. Now, 84, 80, he's born in 75, so by 9015, his ascendant's conjuncting Saturn, so it's a serious thing with dad or things. Then he doesn't hit anything till 1926 when it conjuncts the Neptune, or 1920 when it opposes Jupiter. So these are more mystical turns. Maybe that's to do with his alchemy. By 1933, it conjuncted his moon. By 38, it conjuncted Pluto. And from 38 to towards the end of his life, he started to want to be more alone and be more isolated. His IC came back to, his ascendant gets to his IC in 43. And he really started to want to live more personal, his identification more subjective than career-oriented. But he did accomplish some things. So we pass that. Okay, so Carl Jung's IC. And it bothers me, I can't find it, where I put it. In there. Oh, I have it. No, it's not. Okay, darn. Okay, no sense messing with it now. 1990. Yes, his IC doesn't. This is 1899. That's the wrong date on there. Okay, IC has moved up to oppose his Mars in 1899. This is before. This is some of the stuff before he met Freud or anything like this. It is still personally. This is I think this is maybe to do with his marriage time and finishing his degree and getting married and marrying a really rich person and then not really getting along with making arrangements to make it work. 24, 28, hit the Mercury and Venus. So his time with Freud was in this period in the 5th house, but it wasn't critical in this. 24, 28. This was stuff where he was being involved with the Qing and with alchemy during this time period. And 43 war years it went over his descendant. 45 at the end of the war it conjuncted his son. And then in 56 it conjuncted Uranus. Well, 56, just after this was when I think as he was writing his book on the Man and the Symbols, that really made him really famous. Like it went around, and that went everywhere around the world. This was on his Uranus. So as the excitement was coming, he's motivated by excitement. He really did the radical thing. And then, but still, there was an incident he really was getting older and didn't want to go out that much on it. He wanted to get more isolated on it because it was moving up to the opposition to Saturn, but didn't get there. That's how it went. Okay. So then you see the midheaven was conjuncting the Mars, whereas the IC was not in 1999. And I'm going to just take I found Freud's timeline. So we can, now this is Freud's, no, this is Jung's whole chart. His chart, his IC crosses the MC. All his angles move very fast and they could go over every angle, like every degree. His angles cover every degree in the chart. It's like a wholesome life. He's had one of his personal angles touch every degree in the zodiac. That's unique. So it happens to some people. It's not totally unique, but a lot of people don't get it quite that complete. Yeah, I just finish it off here. Okay, Sigmund Freud, the last one. His ascendant has nothing in the first quadrant, so his ascendant has all oppositions to a sign Uranus, Mercury, is. So he has the oppositions to that. His descendant, who he meets, those are the strong impressions. And as his descendant went up 1903, I think it's around the time, just shortly thereafter, we started meeting Jung. Jung really found his papers and really lit up from them. So let me just see, 1903. No, it was, he wrote in 1901, The Psychopathy of Everyday Life. So he was working on the everyday type of things. Then it went to Mars. It'll show more in the IC stuff. This is his motivation. His motivation, nothing's got the Aquarius motivation, but his IC went around 81, it conjuncted Neptune. That's his run-in with mystical things. But he was against the mystical things, but he had some deep, profound mystical influence in 81. In 81, that was when he received his doctorate. So he received a doctorate in medicine, but he didn't. He got the doctorate with fruit to status, but is working on something other than what he got accepted for. So there was a change. That was a Neptune factor. So that's a fascinating factor, that he'd get his degree, but he's seeing, maybe he proved he got the degree, even though these mystical things were there, but he was trying to prove it to disprove it, to be more practical around it. By 1890, his IC conjuncted to Jupiter. In 1890, his son was born. So he had a daughter. His son was born. John Martin was born in 89. So that was that period. Okay, so this is family period, 81 and stuff. No, the doctorate. Then he got his doctorate and got married shortly around that time. You know, like still, so that's the Neptune. His son was born in 1894 to oppose the Mars. He began formulating his seduction theory, and his daughter was born, and he began writing his seduction theory as his IC was opposing the Mars. I find that interesting. Okay, so then it goes along, the next thing in 1915. So in this whole period in between was when he had met Freud and Jung, and that he was the student that came in and didn't stay. So it went on, and by 1915 it conjuncted his Venus. And in 1915, 1913 he broke from Jung, and in 1913 his book Totem and Taboo was published. So just before this, and he would get it. His book would be appreciated from that point. You know, it would be challenging Aries, but that was a reward point, motivated to do this. And then hit Pluto in 23. Oh yeah, I like this. So in 23, he published The Ego and the Id. As his IC hit Pluto, what's real, what's not. So he got his degree when Neptune was opposing his IC, but when he finally got his books written, he wrote The Ego and the Id as the IC hit the Pluto. This is reality. This is what it is. It's the descent in 29. In 29, yeah, he started the descent. His IC touches the descent. He writes the book Civilization and its Discontents. So he wrote a book about relationships with kind of a Plutonian previous effect, but the IC went out to writing about civilization and its discontent. So I found that very interesting as the shift in his consciousness around that. And that year is just after that his mother died in 35. See, in the 30s, the Nazis banned him, and he was starting to be picked on and worried about it. In 38, his daughter was arrested and interrogated by Gestapo, and then they just took off and moved to England. And so the IC shock was moving to England, moved to England. He lived a year and died September of 39. So this conjuncting Uranus, okay, his IC conjuncted Uranus October 14th. He died September 23rd. So that's close enough. That's right within a few minute or so of the degree. So he really was at a point of shock and freedom. It just took him out of the country, took him out, and he left. But that was on a really exciting point. But I thought his books being written and the themes that were written on were really following his motivation points as he went along this. Okay, so this is our completion of the IC and of the progressed planets and the progressed levels. So next week we start our class on how to do the advanced interpretation, how to mix the progressions and the transits, and how to put it together so you're not getting lost in it, how to make some sense and get some coherency of how these two vast levels of information fit to each other, and how you can integrate them and make it simpler to be able to look at a chart and sift through it and make it real to someone. That's the icing on the cake of astrology. So we start that next week. Thank you. And that's it for now.